Before we journey through the silent dunes and sunlit shafts of the Mali Empire's hidden gold mines and silent caravans, I'd love to know where in the world you're listening from tonight. Whether you're settling in for sleep in Manchester, beginning your evening wind down in Melbourne, or finding a quiet moment somewhere in between, I'm grateful you've joined me here. If these gentle explorations into a world of ancient riches and whispered legends resonate with you, please subscribe so you never miss our descent into the past's golden mysteries. Now, settle back and let your mind drift with me to a time when Saharan winds carried more than sand, when the promise of wealth walked hand in hand with the hush of distant drums. Long before the sun crowned the horizon with its first golden rays, the kingdom of Mali stirred to life beneath a burnished sky. In the early 13th century, a humble warrior king named Sundiata Keita dreamed of uniting the scattered Mandinka chiefdoms into a realm whose heart pulsed with both courage and commerce. His voice, softly yet resolute, carried across the red clay plains as he spoke of a land rich not only in grain and cattle, but in veins of pure gold hidden beneath the earth. As dawn's light crept across the savannah, the air shimmered with promise. Ivory-tusk elephants, symbols of royal power, rumbled through palm groves. Dust from their heavy steps drifted into the morning hush. Early traders, women in indigo wrappers and palm fiber hats, arrived at Sundiata's camp to pay tribute of kola nuts and salt, tiny tokens of desert wealth that balanced gold's weight in regional markets. The camp's perimeter blazed with small braziers, filled with aromatic wood, warding off insects and lending a gentle crackling crackle to the stillness. Sundiata himself stood upon a low rise, his lion-emblazoned cloak settling around him like a second skin. The people paused in their tasks to watch him, children weaving palm fronds into baskets, blacksmiths shaping copper bells that would jingle against caravan camels, and griots tuning their lutes for the day's storytelling. Under Sundiata's gaze, the kingdom's promise felt as warm and certain as the morning sun. In this moment, Mali was more than a patchwork of villages. It was a living promise, a golden thread weaving disparate peoples into one tapestry. And beneath that tapestry lay the first hints of hidden treasure, glinting like stars buried in sand. Soon, word of Mali's wealth would travel across the Sahara, carried by silent caravans and whispered by river traders to far-off markets. But for now, in the cool dawn air, the empire's golden destiny was simply a dream waiting to take shape. Hidden beneath a canopy of ancient baobabs and ebony trees lie the forgotten entrances to the Kangaba gold mines, chasms once echoing with the steady drip of water and the soft scrape of pick against stone. Long after the miners have vanished, their stories linger in the crackling leaves overhead and the faint, metallic scent that rises from the earth at dusk. In the fading light, the mine mouth yawns like a silent sentinel, daring only the boldest to venture within its shadowed corridors. Legends tell of workers who whispered prayers to the earth spirits before descending into narrow tunnels, their lamps casting trembling halos of light on walls laced with quartz and ochre. They believed each vein of gold was a gift and a gamble, bestowed by Jelly, the spirit of the deep. Some nights caravans of jackals prowled the mine's edge, drawn by memory of spilled ore, their eyes glowing like embers in the gloom. In quieter times, griots brought travelers here to listen by torchlight, sharing tales of shafts so deep that the world's surface seemed a distant dream. They wove images of water trickling through unseen fissures and of golden dust that caught the flame, as though the mine itself held a star gone astray. The air, heavy with months of undisturbed incense and damp stone, felt alive, breathing with voices that spanned centuries. Here, the promise of wealth is intertwined with the hush of forgotten toil. Each footstep on the craggy floor feels like a step into history's hidden vault, where miners' laughter and laments echo in unending chorus. As you lean forward to peer into the darkness, Imagine the glint of gold veins snaking through the rock, awaiting discovery. In that moment, the Kangaba mines reveal their secret. Beneath every legend there lies a pulse of truth, waiting to be unearthed by those who dare to listen. In the bustling heart of Niani, Mali's storied capital, dawn brings a whirl of sound and colour as caravan masters ready their silent golden fleets for the journey north. Along the dusty streets, the clatter of wooden scales mingles with the low murmur of traders haggling over salt bricks and the rhythmic thud of camel hooves on packed earth. Each camel, draped in richly woven saddlebags, carries a carefully measured share of gold dust, soft as sand yet heavier than expectation. Under the shade of date palms, skilled women weigh handfuls of fine dust against polished bronze weights. Their nimble fingers moving with practiced ease, the air perfumes itself with crushed kola nut and fresh goat hair brushes used to sweep stray grains back into small pouches. Nearby, blacksmiths fashion iron rings that will secure the bags, their hammers ringing like distant bells, promising both strength and secrecy. The caravan master, braided beard adorned with tiny gold beads, moves among the handlers with calm authority. He inspects each load, lifting saddle frame corner to test its steadiness, nodding his approval only when the camel stands unmoved. His keen eyes, trained by decades of crossing these same trade routes, detect the slightest imbalance. Too much salt, too little gold, or a torn seam. Around him, young apprentices memorize the intricate rituals, how to bind a pack tight enough to survive desert winds, yet loose enough for swift unloading at Taghaza. As the sun climbs higher, the camels are led out in measured ranks, their heavy footfalls stirring up golden dust that shimmers like embers in the light. Musicians, tambourines strapped to their waists, strike a steady beat, a lullaby of motion to soothe the beasts and unify the caravan's pace. With each note, the promise of hidden mines and silent dunes draws nearer, carried on the camels' backs and the whispered prayers of those who trust them. As twilight settles over the Mali plains, flickering lamps cast dancing shadows upon the camp's woven matte circle. Here, the griots, keepers of memory and melody, gather the weary and the curious alike to weave history into the night air. Their soft voices rise and fall like wind through date palms, carrying the rise of empires and the secrets of hidden mines from one generation to the next. These storytellers are more than mere entertainers. They are living archives, entrusted with the lifeblood of Mali's past. Before each performance, the griot Ahadi, chief storyteller, invokes Jeli, the spirit of oral tradition, inviting ancestral echoes to join the tale. As he strikes a single chord on his Ngoni lute, the camp grows silent, save for the soft rattle of beads on his leather wristband and the distant call of a nightjar. Tonight's story begins with a boy who followed river currents upstream, discovering a vein of gleaming ore that would alter the kingdom's destiny. With each descriptive flourish of quartz veins glittering like fallen stars, of torchlight revealing ancient carvings, the listeners drift deeper into a world where past and present merge. Women cradle sleeping infants, their breathing synchronized with the griot's gentle cadence. Camel drivers lean forward, tension easing from their shoulders as cares slip away. Griots guard their secrets jealously. Manuscript scrolls, inked by Timbuktu scholars, note only bare outlines. The true richness lies in performance, inflections, pauses, glances pass between performers, and the quiet hum of the audience's participation. When a story reaches its crescendo, the griots invite call and response, a soft murmur of agreement, chuckles, laughter at a witty aside, or a collective sigh at a moment of loss. By the time the final note fades, the world beyond the camp's perimeter feels distant and unreal. The griots have done more than recount events. they have coaxed the empire's hidden heart to pulse once more under the desert sky, ensuring that the golden legacy of Mali remains alive in every whispered tale. As dawn's rosy fingers touched the horizon, the caravan pressed onward toward Taghaza, the legendary salt pans shimmering like a pale sea under the sun. For weeks, the camels had borne sacks of glinting gold dust northward, their footsteps carving a steady path across rolling dunes. Now, the traders' hearts pulsed with anticipation. Gold for salt, the white gold, essential to preserve food and enliven flavors across distant lands. Arriving at the edge of the pans, the caravan master paused to inhale the briny breeze. The landscape stretched flat and featureless, cracked salt crusts glittering under high sun, broken only by scattered clusters of black mud huts. Here, salt miners labored with iron picks, prying dense slabs from the baked earth before chipping them free and stacking them into pyramid piles. Their skin, taut over lean frames, gleamed with perspiration and salt residue, while cloths wrapped around their heads bore white stains like war paint against the stark backdrop. Women traders emerged from the caravan, carrying woven reed baskets filled with weighed pouches of gold dust. Under a makeshift canopy of palm fronds, they carefully exchanged the precious metal for massive salt bricks, each as heavy as an ox-hide bundle. The scales' bronze pans bobbed as small gold nuggets were tipped in. Each nugget caught the light, a miniature sun, before salt blocks were lowered in return. Children of the mining settlement watched wide-eyed from the fringe, their laughing laughter ringing against the silent expanse. Persian merchants, garbed in flowing robes of cobalt and ivory, haggled over delivery dates and camel fees, while local guides measured the shifting wind patterns for the return journey. Beneath the sun's intensity, the transaction felt timeless, a ritual as old as trans-Saharan trade itself. As midday approached, the golden dust that once weighed down the saddlebags lay safely stored in leather pouches, replaced by stack upon stack of salt bricks. Camels grunted in relief under their new burdens, and the caravan master signaled the departure. With rhythmic chants to bless safe passage, the silent fleet turned southward, gold replaced by salt, ready to carry this vital treasure back to the heart of Mali. When daylight surrenders to dusk, the Sahara transforms into a vast cathedral of silence, broken only by the soft sigh of shifting dunes. Camels bend their long legs to kneel upon cool sands, forming a living circle around campfires whose embers glow like captive stars. The air, still warm from the sun's relentless gaze, carries a hint of date palm smoke and desert sage. Under this velvet canopy, the caravan's pace gives way to quiet contemplation. Night watchers, cloaked in camel hair shawls dyed deep indigo, move among the lines of tethered beasts, murmuring gentle lullabies taught by desert elders. Their voices rise and fall in soothing cadences, attuned to the camel's slow, rhythmic breathing. Beyond the firelight, dunes fold into one another like silent waves, their contours lost in moonless shadows. Occasionally, a fox slips from dune to dune, its red fur ghost-like against the pale sand. As stars ignite overhead, the Milky Way spills across the sky, a river of light guiding travelers who no longer chase sunrise, but savor the hour between wakefulness and dreams. Gilded lanterns swing gently from tent poles, casting patterns of light and shadow on the canvas walls. In these hours, the desert seems alive, a living map etched in grain and wind. Each traveler feels the hush seep into their bones, unspooling the day's tension until only the pulse of their heartbeat remains. These silent nights offer revelation. Under the same sky that inspired Timbuktu's scholars, traders and explorers alike found solace. The hush of the Sahara becomes a lullaby, each dune a verse in an ancient song of endurance and wonder. In that stillness, Mali's hidden caravans rest, their burdens of gold and salt momentarily forgotten, as all who listen are reminded of the desert's gentle power to calm and to dream. Under the radiant reign of Mansa Musa, Africa's wealthiest monarch, Mali's skyline was destined to gleam like a mirage wrought in marble and gold. Upon his triumphant return from the legendary 1324 pilgrimage to Mecca, Mansa Musa summoned master builders, Andalusian architects versed in Quranic geometry, to erect monuments worthy of his empire's prestige. He envisioned mosques, whose domes caught the dawn's first blush, and madrasas lined with intricate tilework, where scholars would study under golden arches. At the construction site in Niani, scaffolding of palm logs creaked beneath the weight of limestone blocks shipped via caravan. Mansa Musa, garbed in flowing white silk and a broad gold filigree diadem, walked among the workmen, tracing patterns in the sand with a jeweled staff. Calm yet commanding, his voice, calm yet commanding, directed artisans to carve Quranic verses into stone facades. Nearby, stonecutters, in coarse tunics, chiseled geometric motifs, each chip echoing like a distant drumbeat. Mansa Musa's generosity extended beyond stones. He imported marble columns from distant quarries, each slab inscribed with prayers of protection. Gold leaf gilders, women renowned for their steady hands, applied fine veins of gold to mihrabs, ensuring that each prayer niche glowed under candlelight. The air brimmed with the scent of wet plaster and rosewater, as craftsmen mixed pigments for murals depicting the empire's triumphs. By night, oil lamps revealed the mosque's skeletal form, lofty arches framed against a pale sky, a promise of splendor to come. As Mansa Musa paused atop a rising minaret foundation, the kingdom's future seemed as boundless as the desert beyond. In every carved stone and gilded panel lay the empire's golden heartbeat, a testament to faith, power, and the visionary will of Mali's great ruler. Beyond the bustling markets and mud-brick walls of Timbuktu lies a quieter treasure, vaulted chambers housing manuscripts that span centuries of African and Islamic thought. These hidden libraries, secreted behind unassuming doorways, hold texts on astronomy, medicine, law, and philosophy, their pages edged in gold and bound in richly dyed goat leather. Each volume is a fragment of Mali's golden legacy, waiting for the curious to unroll its whispered wisdom. By day, scholars in flowing indigo baobabs drift between rows of low wooden shelves, their slippers stirring soft clouds of dust. A hush prevails, broken only by the scratch of reed pens and the gentle rustle of parchment. Under pointed arches, young students leaf through pages illuminated by gold leaf. Diagrams of celestial spheres, treatises on herbal cures, and stories of caravans that transformed the world. Candles flicker in metal sconces, casting warm pools of light that dance upon gilt-lettered margins. At the library's core is a vaulted room cooled by earthen wind catchers. Here, the chief librarian, a venerable figure with greying braids and ink-stained fingertips, ushers trusted guests to rarest tomes. With a ceremonious bow, he presents a 14th century astrolabe manual, its diagrams still crisp. A visiting Moroccan trader, draped in white silk, traces the gold-inked star charts with reverent fingers, marveling at the precision of Mali's scholars. By twilight, lanterns suspended from wooden beams glow like suspended fireflies. The library, often mistaken for a simple madrasa from the outside, reveals its true grandeur only to those who know its secret paths. In these hushed halls, knowledge gleams as brightly as gold, each manuscript a silent testament to Mali's place at the crossroads of commerce, faith, and learning. Beneath the shade of towering baobabs at the edge of Niani's market square, a sisterhood of women has long presided over the exchange of Mali's most precious metal. Clad in vibrant wrappers that ripple like river currents, they arrive each morning with bundles of weighed gold dust cradled in reed baskets. Their hands, nimble and sure, measure every grain, ensuring the balance between buyer and seller remains sacred. These women, called nyamakalas, inherited their craft through matrilineal lines, tracing back to the earliest minds of Kangaba and Bambuk. From mothers to daughters, secrets of refining and trading passed quietly in song and shared laughter. They speak softly of the dunes that guard hidden veins, of the dusty shafts where ancestors once toiled. When the sun climbs high, these matriarchs negotiate with caravan masters from Gao and merchants from Timbuktu, their voices a blend of gentle humor and steely resolve. Their stalls are adorned with polished brass scales and leather pouches engraved with protective symbols. As a golden sunbeam catches a dust mote's dance, it highlights the intricate jewelry they offer. Filigreed earrings, slender bracelets, and delicate pendants shaped like crescent moons. Each piece carries the blessing of both artisan and spirit. For the Nyamakalas believe that every gold token bears a fragment of ancestral memory. By midday, palm frond canopies stretch overhead, cooling breeze stirring the skirts of passing traders. Children gather at the women's feet, entranced by the glimmer of gold and the soft lilt of their stories. A market guard in chainmail pauses to admire a newly minted bracelet before bidding farewell with a respectful nod. Through every transaction, the women maintain the delicate equilibrium of Mali's economy. Gold traded not just as currency, but woven into the kingdom's social fabric. As twilight beckons, the Nyamakalas gather their wares, lullabies taught by grandmothers long gone. The baskets close with a k, and each woman carries home more than profit. She bears the glow of Mali's golden legacy in her heart, ready to kindle it anew with tomorrow's dawn. Beyond the forested banks of the Fleme River, where dense canopy filters sunlight into emerald dapples, lie the secret shafts of the Bambuk gold mines. Long ago, miners tunneled beneath towering mahogany and iroko trees, guided by the murmur of subterranean streams and the glint of quartz seams. Today, vine-choked entrances half conceal yawning chasms, and the forest floor is carpeted with leaf litter that muffles the echo of footsteps. Legend says that Bambuk's veins run deep, older than Mali itself. Local elders speak of spirits called jinn who guard these golden veins, demanding respect and offerings of kola nut and palm wine before granting safe passage. Miners begin each day by carving small talismans of carved ivory, tokens of protection, and stowing them in leather pouches around their waists. The air grows cooler as they descend wooden ladders into the earth, the outside world swallowed by damp stone. Within the shafts, lanterns reveal walls laced with veins of milky quartz and flecks of gold that sparkle like captured sunlight. The miners work in pairs. One pries at the rock face with iron picks, while the other sweeps loose grit into woven baskets. Their breaths mingle with the faint drip of groundwater, and the echo of their tools forms a slow, steady rhythm, a subterranean heartbeat. In rare clearings, where sunlight filters through skylights carved by ancient hands, the miners pause to sip spiced tea and share, whispered tales of fortune and woe. Some return with pouches heavy with dust, so fine it slips through fingers like silk. Others bring compressed nuggets that gleam with promise. As they ascend, the forest welcomes them back, moss-clad tree trunks and chirping birds marking the boundary between earth and sky. For those who dare the hidden depths of Bambuk, each tunnel is a journey into Mali's buried past, a testament to human endurance and the earth's latent generosity. And when the miners emerge at dusk, their baskets brimming, they carry more than gold home. They bring the breath of the forest's secret heart. Before the caravan sets out at first light, a series of solemn rituals binds traders, camels, and spirits in a pact of safety. At the break of dawn, the caravan master convenes beneath a lone acacia grove, where a priest, clad in sand-colored robes, awaits with a shallow clay bowl of incense and crushed myrrh. As the sun peaks over the horizon, the priest circles each camel, wafting fragrant smokes skyward and chanting blessings in a lilting tone. These invocations honor Bumbu, the desert spirit of protection, whose favor ensures the caravan's silent march across shifting seas of sand. Each camel's harness is sprinkled with a handful of salt, symbolic of the trade's duality, an award against misfortune. Traders, too, partake. They dip fingers into oil infused with frankincense, marking their foreheads with a small crescent. This gesture, a silent vow of honesty and goodwill, reassures fellow merchants and camels alike. Once the rituals conclude, the caravan master raises his jeweled staff, signaling the first steps forward. Camels kneel and rise in unison, their harness bells chiming softly, an auditory promise that gold and salt will flow responsibly between kingdoms. Apprentices observe these formalities with earnest attention, knowing that a single misstep, be it a cracked bowl or an uneven chant, might invite desert mischief, sudden sandstorms or spooked camels. As the column threads past acacia shadows, the rhythmic thud of hooves becomes a prayer in motion. Drum-like echoes from tambourines, held by women traders, accompany each step, reinforcing the communal spirit. The morning light glints off bronze anklets and the edges of leather saddlebags, creating a shimmering procession. In these moments, formality and faith merge. Trade becomes ritual, and the desert itself transforms into a temple of passage. Gao, perched high on the Niger's eastern bank, served as a crossroads where rivers of gold, cola, and ideas converged. As the caravan snaked into town, against mud-brick walls, and boats bobbed beneath wooden docks laden with ivory and copper ingots. Under the ochre sky, traders from distant lands, Persia, Egypt, and even Andalusia, mingled with local merchants, exchanging more than goods, languages, customs, and ambition. Along the wharf, a kola nut broker in layered textiles gestured animatedly with a carved staff, negotiating the price of twin offerings, salt slabs for winter larders, and gold for decorative arts. Children perched on riverbank stones, their dancing over the lapping water as they skipped ripe kola nuts across the river's mirrored surface. Arab scholars in loose white gowns debated celestial charts under tented canopies, while Mande warriors in leather breastplates showcased ornate spears, their edges catching sunlight like liquid metal. In the market's heart, rows of stalls offered delicate glass beads, woven mats, and ambergris-scented perfumes. Gold dust traders found shady alcoves beneath date palms, calibrating scales with meticulous care. The Arabic verses murmured alongside Mandinka proverbs, each phrase a testament to Gao's role as an intellectual and commercial hub. When the caravan reloaded, liaised guides measured the Niger's seasonal currents, knowledge crucial to navigate the river's shifting channels on return journeys. As dusk approached, lanterns flickered, casting mosaic patterns on boats' hulls and market tents. In the still river air, the promise of safe passage intertwined with dreams of hidden veins and silent dunes, awaiting discovery beyond Gao's bustling embrace. Beneath Mali's red soils and river terraces lie the planet's ancient arteries of molten treasure, gold-bearing quartz veins and alluvial beds shaped by eons of water and pressure. Geomancers, scholars versed in Earth's mysteries, studied pebble-strewn streams, tapping divining rods carved from sacred ebony to sense hidden glints beneath riverbanks. Their guidance led miners to the richest veins at Bambuk and Kukundu, where rock seams shimmered like fractured sunlight. In shaded river forks, a young geomancer dipped his rod into water tinted red with iron oxide. As the rod quivered, he marked a chalk line on moss-clad stones, suggesting where miners should excavate. Geologists in training observed, their leather-bound notebooks capturing diagrams of quartz lodes and sediment layers. These rudimentary surveys, though lacking modern instruments, rivaled distant travelers' maps in accuracy, a testament to local expertise honed over centuries. Once led to promising ground, miners scraped away overburden to reveal milky white quartz webs, veined with golden flecks. Under flickering lanterns, they pried the seams apart, breathing clouds of dust that settled like gold-colored mist. Water washing through crushed rock separated heavier gold grains from lighter sand, each swirl of silt a clue to deeper deposits waiting to be unearthed. Beyond technical skill, miners honored the earth spirit, placing small offerings of palm wine at vein entrances and reciting soft hymns. They believed that gold, born in the earth's fiery heart, carried both blessing and burden. To extract it was to negotiate with Jeli, balancing material gain against spiritual harmony. By nightfall, sacks of coarse gold and quartz chips lined the riverbank, each bag a microcosm of geological wonder and human ingenuity. In the hush that followed, the geomancer's diagrams by lantern light reminded all who labored here that Mali's true wealth was as much in knowledge passed from hand to hand as in the metal glinting beneath calloused fingers. Where gold flows, danger often follows. Tales of desert bandits, known as Marawi, who struck in moonless nights have woven themselves into caravan lore. These shadowy raiders, masked by swirling sands, preyed on laden camels and distracted guards with feints, hoping to claim glimmering pouches of gold dust for themselves. Yet caravan masters developed silent countermeasures, honed by necessity and fear. Under cover of pre-dawn darkness, guards, armed with slender spears and short swords, took positions along the column, their faces painted with charcoal to ward off recognition. Camels were rearranged so that gold-laden saddlebags nestled between unassuming salt packs, confusing any would-be thieves who managed to board. Some masters even concealed pouches within hollowed camel bones, retrieving them at night to prevent discovery. In 1319, one caravan disguised as a humble salt train survived an ambush near Timbuktu's western approach. As the Marawi leapt from dunes, guards triggered hidden clay bells that ring-rang, a silent alarm, and frogs' calls recorded on palm fronds, imitated to sow confusion. Under this manufactured chorus, the silent line pressed forward, camels surging through the dunes until the attackers lost their bearings. These tactics, equal parts cunning and quiet, revealed a deeper truth. Mali's caravan routes were not just trade arteries, but lifelines requiring constant vigilance. Each guard understood that gold's allure invited both fortune and peril. By dawn's arrival, surviving bandits melted back into the desert's folds, leaving behind only disturbed sand and the faint echo of clashing steel. As the caravan regrouped, the master offered silent prayers for the departed and gratitude for those who stood watch. In Mali's golden epoch, the shadow of banditry never fully vanished, but neither did the spirit of ingenuity that protected its hidden treasures. In 1324, Mansa Musa embarked on a pilgrimage to Mecca that would resound across continents. Leading a caravan of tens of thousands, he sought spiritual fulfillment. But his journey also broadcast Mali's boundless riches to the wider world. Embroidered white robes billowed against the Saharan winds as he set forth, his golden staff catching the sun's glare and signaling to distant observers the kingdom's opulence and faith. At each oasis, Musa distributed gold so liberally that local economies shimmered under sudden inflation. At Tao Deni's salt wells, he traded gold nuggets for salt blocks, reversing his own empire's usual exchange. Historians recount that gold dust littered streets in Cairo as he passed, a testament to both generosity and spectacle. Yet, beneath this lavish display lay a deeper purpose, forging alliances and securing respect among Islamic kingdoms. Musa's entourage included scholars, architects, and religious leaders, transforming the pilgrimage into a moving university and diplomatic summit. Moorish architects sketched plans for Timbuktu's Grand Mosque as they travelled, while jurists debated legal treatises under date palms. Caravan guards, trained in desert warfare, ensured safe passage through lawless stretches, their armour etched with Quranic verses for divine protection. Despite grandeur, Musa insisted on humility before the Kaaba. In Mecca's open courtyards, he bowed alongside barefoot pilgrims, each step echoing his devotion. Lantern-lit nights found him studying under scholars, exchanging Mali's hidden manuscripts for works from Andalusia and Cairo. This cross-pollination of knowledge would later seed Timbuktu's libraries and shape West Africa's golden age of learning. When he returned home, laden with scholars and ideas as much as with camels bearing gold, Mansa Musa reshaped Mali. Mosques rose, schools flourished, and the empire stood as a beacon of faith and fortune. His pilgrimage was more than a spiritual quest. It was the most resounding declaration that Mali's gold would illuminate both earth and mind for generations to come. After the pilgrimage and trade missions, return caravans carried more than gold and salt. They bore fresh ideas, exotic crafts, and new culinary delights. Laden with ivory tusks, richly dyed silks from the Mediterranean, and manuscripts gifted by scholars, these silent fleets threaded back toward Niani in stately procession. Each arrival sparked celebration. Drummers welcomed the procession, and children danced as brightly colored tents rose in the marketplace. Among the prized imports were silk fragments woven with geometric patterns, tokens of Mali's place on the wider silk routes connecting Africa to Asia and Europe. Merchants unfurled bolts of indigo-dyed cloth alongside Persian carpets, comparing stitchwork and dye quality while negotiating for local gold. Women traders sampled spiced sugar confections from the Levant, marveling at flavors unlike their customary date sweets, and then offered local peanut stews in exchange. Scholars who had journeyed north returned with scrolls on astronomy and medicine, their Arabic scripts mingling with Mandinka in the great scriptoriums. At dusk, under open-air pavilions, these intellectuals debated irrigation methods drawn from Andalusian treatises, envisioning more prosperous fields along the Niger's floodplains. The mingling of languages and customs transformed Mali into a dynamic hub where culture flowed as freely as commerce. Guides who had scouted distant oases shared stories of foreign stars and constellations, teaching young geomancers to map the heavens with novel star charts. Musicians introduced new rhythms on imported frame drums and lutes, adding layers to Mali's musical heritage. Even military escorts carried tales of fortress designs, seen in Moroccan kasbahs, inspiring the construction of more robust desert watchtowers back home. In these return journeys, Mali's hidden golden veins were enriched by the treasures of human imagination. By the time the last camel knelt before its owner, the empire had been remade. Its wealth measured not only in metal, but in the tapestry of experiences woven by silent caravans. Raw gold dust and nuggets require transformation before they shimmer in the market's glow. At Mali's refining workshops, simple furnaces, clay-lined and fueled by charcoal, roared to life each dawn. Master refiner Kambale oversaw the process, his soot-dark tunic and leather apron streaked with gilt residue. With measured precision, workers mixed crushed quartz ore with water and mercury, a technique borrowed from distant alchemical texts, causing fine gold particles to amalgamate and settle. As the sun climbed, the furnace glowed orange, and molten gold pooled at its base. Kambale dipped a carved iron ladle into the molten mass, pouring the liquid metal into shallow clay molds. The gold hardened in minutes, emerging as slender ingots. Each ingot bore Kambale's seal, a lion's paw imprint symbolizing legitimacy. Nearby, apprentices ground stones into fine powders to polish the ingots until their surfaces gleamed like captured sunlight. In the cool shade, women weighed the newly minted bars against bronze weights, noting minute variances with reed pens and parchment records. Goldsmiths then melted down select ingots for filigree work, pulling slender wires through tapering holes to create jewelry. Techniques passed through generations, hammering, folding, and weaving gold threads, yielded bracelets and earrings that caught candlelight in swirling patterns. Throughout the day, the workshop resonated with clinkings of iron tools and the low hissing of steam as water cooled red-hot metal. Seasoned artisans reminded apprentices of the earth spirit, offering small libations of palm wine at each stage. They believed that gold, once refined, carried the land's essence, and that respect for its origin ensured both quality and spiritual balance. By dusk, Carts rolled away with fresh ingots bound in leather, ready for market and mosque alike. Mali's hidden treasures had been reborn through flame and water, their glow preserved for traders and architects to shape into masterpieces. Behind the rhythmic rhythm of caravan bells lies a secret bond, the oath-bound brotherhood of camel drivers, known as the Jeru. At twilight, after the day's journey, these men gather in the shade of giant tamarisk trees. Cloaked in dust-swept wool, they form a circle and pass around a gourd of palm wine. Each lifts the vessel high, swears fealty to the cardinal points, north for guidance, south for sustenance, east for dawn, west for rest, and then drinks deeply. Their creed mandates vigilance, loyalty, and discretion. The drivers pledge never to reveal a caravan's true cargo or route, even under duress. They swear to exchange water rations before gold if necessity demands, for a loaded camel without water is lost. These oaths, recited in low, resonant tones, bind them tighter than chains. A broken vow leads to exile, a fate worse than death in the desert, for survival alone amid endless sands is near impossible. As the final pledge ends, a silent signal passes, hands brushed across throats, reminding each other of the price of betrayal. Then, torchlights flicker as they return to their duties, patting camel flanks, rearranging packs, and whisper encouragement. Their faces, illuminated by lamp glow, reveal lines carved by years beneath Saharan suns. Though rarely spoken of outside the Brotherhood, the Jeru's oaths ensured Mali's silent caravans moved like living fortresses. Their loyalty allowed traders and scholars to dream of distant markets and hidden mines with confidence, knowing that guardians sat atop each hump, their word as unbreakable as the desert's stillness. In Mali's vibrant marketplaces, salt and gold upheld a delicate equilibrium, each commodity shaping daily life as inexorably as the Niger's currents. Known as the two pillars, their relative value shifted with harvest yields, caravan risks, and regional demand. Market scholars, called Niani, maintained bamboo ledger records tracking exchange rates like modern economists, ensuring traders received fair compensation. At a busy Niani stall, trader Aisha weighed fine gold dust against salt bricks imported from Taghaza. A sudden drought in the north had halted salt production, driving salt's price up. With practiced fingers, she adjusted scales, explaining to a caravan master that 2 gold grains now equaled 1 salt block. Nearby, apprentices noted each transaction on palm leaf strips, preparing data to advise city governors on tax adjustments. In Timbuktu's Grand Market, Persian merchants and Mandinka leaders held spirited debates beneath palm canopies. They discussed how innovations in gold refining might increase supply, potentially lowering gold's value and raising salt's appeal. Questions of currency stability and wealth distribution unfolded in hushed tones, revealing that Mali's prosperity depended on balancing its elemental treasures. Beyond economics, salt carried cultural weight. It preserved millet porridges, cured hides, and symbolized hospitality in ceremonial feasts. Gold, conversely, adorned royalty, mosques, and manuscripts, a testament to spiritual devotion. Thus their trade was both pragmatic and symbolic, interwoven into the empire's social fabric. By nightfall, the scales rested until sunrise, but the market's pulse remained alive in lantern-lit discussions. Traders and scholars alike understood that the empire's fortune rose and fell on the precision of these exchanges. In balancing salt and gold, Mali forged not just wealth but cohesion, a shared trust in the commodities that shaped lives across its sun-baked realm. In the spring of 1326, a legendary sandstorm rose without warning, engulfing a caravan near the Kiddle Dunes. Traders later called it the voice of the Sahara, for survivors claimed the wind carried indistinct whispers, perhaps the spirits of lost miners calling from buried shafts. As amber-hued clouds rolled across the sky, camels brayed in alarm, and handlers tightened leather straps against flying grit. Within minutes, day became dusk. The swirling sands clawed at faces, lodging in eyes and mouths. Caravan guards, already wary of bandits, struggled to maintain formation, shouting orders that vanished into the tumult. Lamps sputtered and died, leaving only the storm's roar. In this howling cathedral, distance meant nothing. Even a single step misplaced risked plunging into an unseen chasm or trampling a fellow trader. Legend tells of Sheikh Umar, a young guide who carried a golden compass engraved with celestial markings. As the storm raged, he gripped the compass, sunlight long gone, and followed its needle toward a faint glow on the horizon. Others dismissed the device as superstition, but his unwavering faith saved them. Under his direction, the caravan pressed through the tempest, camels stumbling yet undeterred, until the storm's edge revealed a rocky outcrop, offering shelter. By dawn, the sands had settled, leaving dunes sculpted like waves, and traders exhausted, but alive. Sheikh Umar's compass, half buried in drifted sand, now gleamed with renewed legend. The hidden mines of Kangaba and Bambuk seemed a distant dream, but the storm's trial became a tale of resilience, proof that even the desert's fury could be navigated with knowledge, courage, and an unbroken spirit. Before the caravan turned south toward Mali, many travelers paused at Sidi Massa, the Moroccan desert's great watering hole, where golden dunes met fertile palm groves. Here, pilgrims from sub-Saharan Africa and North Africa mingled under broad tents, exchanging news of hidden oases and distant mines. As dawn's first glow painted earthen walls pink, merchants traded salt slabs and gold trinkets for fragrant dates, while scholars recited snippets of Andalusian poetry beneath date palms. Among the pilgrims was Amina bint Bashir, a young woman who carried a leather-bound book of prayers gilded with gold leaf. She had journeyed from Timbuktu to seek blessings for her family's mining endeavors. Each morning, she joined Moroccan sheikhs at the communal well, drawing water in clay jugs and listening to their tales of caravan routes snaking through the Sahara. At sunset, she dipped her quill in ink and penned letters on parchment, sending word home of Sidi Massa's bustling exchange and the gentle kindness of desert hosts. In the marketplace, Berber guides in woolen cloaks sketched crude maps for newcomers, marking treacherous sand seas and hidden spring wells. Children darted among palm trunks, selling handcrafted reed flutes that emitted haunting melodies at dusk. The air smelled of spiced tea and roasted nuts, mingled with the subtle tang of perspiration from camels rested after long marches. As night enfolded the oasis, traders and pilgrims gathered beside lantern-lit fires. They shared songs of Mali's golden rivers and songs of the Atlas peaks beyond. Girls braided date-leaf mats, while men passed copper cups of mint tea, their laughter low and steady. In Sidi Massa's embrace, the convergence of cultures shimmered like gold in the moonlight, a testament to the desert's power to unite distant lands through silent caravans and shared stories. In the heart of Timbuktu, the Sankara University rose from sun-baked clay as a beacon of learning, its mud-brick minarets and courtyards humming with scholarly debate. Commissioned by Mansa Musa's successors, the complex combined local Sudano-Sahelian styles with architectural influences from Cairo and Cordoba. Each building's facade featured carved mud patterns, geometric shapes echoing Quranic verses, while towering buttresses provided both structural support and shaded alcoves. By early morning, students in indigo boubous filed through wooden doors, their footsteps muffled by intricately woven rugs. Inside, lecture halls opened onto central courtyards where olive and tamarisk trees cast dappled light on rows of low benches. Professors, some fresh from study in Fez, lectured on astronomy, mathematics, and law, their voices carrying across vaulted chambers cooled by wind catchers. A hushed reverence permeated the air as scholars consulted manuscripts bound in dyed goat leather, each volume bearing gold-inked titles. In workshops adjacent to the classrooms, artisans mixed local clay with straw to repair eroded walls, while calligraphers illuminated new pages with gold leaf and indigo dyes. By noon, the university's kitchens produced millet porridge and salted fish, nourishing hungry minds preparing for afternoon debates. As sunlight shifted, long shadows stretched across colonnades, guiding students to study circles beneath archways carved with stylized palm motifs. At dusk, lanterns hung from wooden rafters, casting warm light on evening lectures. Travelers passing through Timbuktu often paused at Sankare's gates, marveling at how a desert kingdom transformed mud and gold into a center of global scholarship. In each brick and course of mud plaster lay the promise that Mali's hidden wealth extended beyond mines. It flourished in the fertile ground of knowledge. Beneath the grandeur of visible mines exist hidden vaults, ancient oubliettes, where Mali's gold once slumbered undisturbed. Carved into sandstone cliffs outside Kangaba, these subterranean chambers were sealed with iron-grilled doors and forgotten by tribes who feared their guardian spirits. Only priests of the royal court knew their secret paths, passed down through encoded songs. To reach an oubliette, one navigated narrow tunnels lined with petrified roots, the air growing cooler with each step. Faint echoes carried the drip of groundwater and the rustle of bats stirring overhead. At intersections, markers, small carved lion heads, pointed the way to hidden chambers. Inside, piles of raw gold ore lay untouched, beside clay jars of ritual oils, their surfaces mottled by centuries of humidity. Priests in white linen robes entered only under a crescent moon, carrying bronze lamps to avoid igniting sacred incense laid atop buried altars. They performed silent rites, tracing gold veins with copper rods and chanting invocations to Jelly. When the rituals concluded, the oubliette doors closed as quietly as they had opened, preserving both treasure and memory in stony stillness. Over time, shifting politics and fading knowledge sealed most oubliettes forever. Yet explorers occasionally stumble upon sealed grills, prying them open to reveal stubborn jars and vestiges of vanished offerings. The twilight glow of hidden ore still illuminates faces of rediscovery, reminding us that Mali's silent heart still beats beneath sandstone. Where gold's legacy awaits those who dare unseal its ancient vaults. Long after the mines fell silent, Mali's gold lived on in oral traditions. Tales of rivers running molten at dawn, and jinn guardians cloaked in starlight. Griots carried these legends from village to village, their voices weaving fact and fantasy, until each listener saw gold fields rippling beneath desert moons. One such tale tells of the river Sankarani, said to glow pink at sunrise after night's first harvest by spirits. Fishermen claimed nets, sometimes returned, dusted, not with fish scales, but with glimmering particles, a reminder that gold and water share hidden bonds. In remote camps, elders whispered of an invisible caravan, spirits of ancient traders burdened with gold, whose spectral camels left hoofprints in soft sand before vanishing at dawn. Young children learned these myths as lullabies, singing of Kenedugu's golden mountain, where a single nugget could cure fever. Yet only the pure of heart might claim it. Folkloric minstrels dramatized these stories with wooden puppets, their joints dusted in gold powder to catch candlelight. Even skeptical travelers paused at sunrise to watch for pink glints on riverbanks or listen for phantom bells in nighttime winds. Behind the whimsy lay kernels of truth. Minor alluvial deposits, hidden veins glimpsed by geomancers, and isolated mining rituals. But more enduring was the shared belief that Mali's wealth was not solely material. It was imagination, hope, and community, interwoven by oral tradition. In every retelling, gold became a living metaphor, a shimmering thread connecting past, present, and future across the silent sands. In medieval Mali, Islamic principles underpinned trade ethics, forging trust across vast distances. Merchants and judges alike adhered to Sharia tenets governing honesty, fair weights, and just contracts. Marketplaces displayed proclamations inscribed on wooden boards, reminding traders that deceit invoked both legal and divine repercussions. At Niani's main souk, an imam merchant named Ahmed al-Maghrebi presided over disputes. Clad in a green turban, symbolizing piety, he listened to grievances, claims of shorted weights or counterfeit coins, under a date palm pavilion. After probing questions, he invoked pertinent hadith and Quranic verses, directing restitution or punitive measures. His reed pen scratched verdicts onto parchment scrolls, binding parties to oaths before God. Before each trade, sellers recited a brief invocation, Bismillah, and buyers repeated a silent prayer for honest dealings. Scales bore emblems of the Prophet's seal, ensuring calibration by approved guilds. Any broken seal rendered goods suspect. Apprentices learned these customs early, memorizing contracts on palm leaves and reciting them before elders to affirm comprehension. Beyond legalities, charity, zakat, played a role. Wealthier merchants set aside a portion of profits for the poor and travelers. Each month, designated brokers distributed alms at caravan camps, reinforcing social cohesion. Travelers from distant lands, reassured by these ethical norms, trusted Mali's gold, contributing to its renown and enduring trade networks. Thus, in every weighed grain of gold and measured brick of salt, faith and commerce intertwined. Mali's hidden wealth shone not only in glittering veins, but in the moral bonds that sustained an empire across desert seas and river valleys. Dubbed ships of the Sahara, camels carried Mali's golden hopes across shifting sands. Their broad, flat feet prevented sinking in dunes, while their humps stored fat for long treks without forage. In caravan camps, handlers attended these beasts like honored guests, understanding that each camel's health meant survival. Camels were groomed meticulously, coarse hair trimmed around eyes to improve vision, and padded leather reins applied to prevent chafing. Brightly dyed saddlecloths displayed owners' tribal patterns, while bronze bells hung from harnesses jingling softly with each step. Before departure, veteran camels underwent training routes, familiarizing them with desert landmarks under handlers' patient guidance. As dawn broke, camels kneeled in unison at handlers' signal, feet folded neatly beneath stout bodies, awaiting riders and cargo. Their deep exhalations mingled with the morning breeze, and their steady gait formed the caravan's rhythm. Handlers walked alongside, speaking low in camel tongue, soft sounds that soothed nerves when sand whipped around them. At water stops, camels drank up to 30 gallons in a single session, kneeling to lower muzzles to shaded wells. This ritual drew villagers' marvel, who believed camels drank first to calm themselves before humans approached the water. In the evenings, camels formed a protective circle around the camp's perimeter, backsides outward, guarding both cargo and crew. In every silent footfall across golden dunes, camels embodied the resilience of Mali's trade. Their patient endurance mirrored the empire's slow but steady rise, bearing both gold's weight and the hopes of kingdoms. As the sun set on another day's journey, handlers whispered thanks to these noble beasts, silent partners in an age defined by hidden mines and caravan lore. To safeguard precious cargo, caravan masters employed military escorts, seasoned warriors skilled in desert tactics, clad in leather breastplates and wielding spears etched with protective Quranic inscriptions. These guardians stood at dawn watch along caravan flanks. Their horses, smaller than Sahelian breeds, traversed dunes with sure footing, carrying riders who scanned horizons for bandit ambushes. At strategic intervals, small desert fortresses, Killa, lined major trade routes. Built from sun-dried mud bricks, these outposts featured low battlements and watchtowers overlooking dunes. Soldiers stationed within rotated shifts. Some patrolled perimeter walls, while others maintained signal fires to warn of approaching dust clouds. Within cramped courtyards, blacksmiths repaired armor and spears, and cooks prepared millet stews to sustain troops. When scouts spotted suspicious movements, horns sounded, a low, resonant call that traveled faster than riders. Escorts then formed a defensive square, shields braced outward, and spears angled to deter attackers. Camels were driven to rear, their bulk shielding non-combatants. Often, the mere sight of disciplined ranks deterred raiders hungry for easy plunder. One legend recalls a siege at Gao's western Kila, where escort commander Issa II Traore held off marauders for 3 days, a squadron reinforcing walls with sandbags and improvising oil-fueled fire lances. By the 4th dawn, reinforcements arrived from Niani, led by a royal envoy bearing orders sealed in gold wax. Issa II's valor ensured safe passage for a returning caravan and became a tale of heroism sung by griots across Mali. In every fortress and escort formation lay Mali's determination to protect its silent caravans, a testament that gold's journey was as guarded as the empire's own heart. Within Timbuktu's hidden libraries, scribes and illuminators transformed humble manuscripts into jeweled treasures. Using handcrafted brushes and gold leaf pounded wafer-thin, artists embellished Quranic texts, historical chronicles, and scientific treatises with intricate borders of arabesques and geometric mosaics. Each illuminated page shimmered under candlelight, reflecting both spiritual devotion and artistic mastery. Workshops hummed with activity. Calligraphers sat at low desks, dipping reed pens into inkwells filled with lamp-black pigment, drafting precise Arabic script. Nearby, illuminators mixed gold dust with gum Arabic to create lustrous paints, applying them delicately to margins and initial letters. Apprentices ground precious minerals, lapis lazuli for deep blues, malachite for green hues, in stone mortars, refining pigments for each palette. One master illuminator, Fatima al-Kabir, guided young artists beneath cedar-beamed rafters. She taught them to burnish gold leaf until it lay perfectly smooth, then to trace filigree patterns inspired by Saharan lacework. Fatima's own designs, so elaborate they resembled miniature gardens, became sought after by wealthy patrons across West Africa and beyond. At day's end, finished manuscripts were laid out on cushions to dry in shaded alcoves, their pages crackling softly as moisture evaporated. Patrons examined the volumes with reverence, often tracing gold-accented verses with fingertips. These illuminated works traveled with scholars returning to Marrakesh, Cairo, and Andalusia, spreading Mali's reputation as a center of artistic and intellectual excellence. In each calligraphed line and gilded motif lay the empire's golden spirit, its fusion of faith, knowledge, and creativity. The silent hum of workshops carried on long after lanterns dimmed, leaving a legacy that outshone even the richest veins of Mali's hidden mines. Far to the south, beyond dense jungles and winding rivers, lay the Wangara mines, mystical sites where alluvial gold deposits washed down from distant highlands. Riverine miners waded waist-deep in silty streams, sluicing water through woven reed mats to trap precious flakes. Each dawn brought the hum of gravel and water, punctuated by calls of exotic birds overhead. Miners wore minimal gear, bark cloth loincloths and leather sandals, their skin gleaming with river moisture. They carried wooden sieves reinforced with iron rims and small wicker baskets for collected nuggets. An elder geomancer stood on the bank, chanting softly as he sifted silt through his divining rod, guiding hopeful diggers to richer patches. Between sluice stations, women sorted sediment on flat stone slabs, picking out glinting particles and rinsing them in clay bowls. Children gathered behind, sorting gold dust into pouches tied at their waists, humming lullabies in local dialect. Overhead, vines draped mahogany and iroko branches, shading the labourers from tropical sun. Near each camp's hearth, alchemists experimented, crushing ore and testing rudimentary refining methods taught by returning traders. Their small furnaces smoked under palm leaf roofs, the scent of burning charcoal and molten metal mingling in humid air. Each refined ingot bore a simple stamped emblem indicating origin, a stylized river wave or local deity's symbol. When cargoes were ready, canoes loaded with gold dust and ingots paddled downriver to meet camel caravans waiting at riverine ports. The union of water and desert routes forged a seamless path for Mali's hidden riches, ensuring that even the jungle's secret veins contributed to an empire woven by gold and guided by silent caravans. Mali's golden fortunes rose and fell with the rhythms of climate. Periodic droughts turned bustling markets quiet, while heavy rains washed away riverbanks and unearthed new alluvial deposits. In 1342, a prolonged drought shrank tributaries feeding the Bambuk mines, forcing miners to delve deeper underground. Torches flickered against damp walls, where waste rock bore new veins previously submerged. Village elders draped in grass fibre cloaks convened at shrines to plead with rain spirits. They offered millet cakes and palm wine at river mouths, chanting for relief. When monsoon clouds finally gathered, torrents reshaped landscapes overnight. Gullies carved into floodplains revealed hidden nuggets, and mud brick mine shafts collapsed under heavy downpours. Camels trudged through flooded basins, their cargoes drenched but still precious. Geomancers documented these cycles on palm leaf charts, noting correlations between rainfall patterns and gold yields. Younger apprentices recorded each season's production figures on bark strips, forecasting when to shift mining efforts from riverbeds to deep shafts. Traders adjusted caravan schedules accordingly, delaying departures during wet seasons and stockpiling salt when gold was scarce. Through alternating droughts and deluges, Mali adapted, its hidden mines both challenged and replenished by nature's whims. Elders taught that true wealth lay not in constant abundance but in resilience, in understanding the land's cycles, negotiating with its moods, and trusting that even after the harshest drought, the next rain might carry new golden blessings. As evening skies cleared, villagers would gather by dwindling river pools, watching gold flakes drift in swirling waters. Reminders that in Mali's realm, the earth and sky conspired together to shape the legacy of silent caravans and hidden mines. Within narrow alleys of Timbuktu's artisan quarter, a sisterhood of goldsmiths toiled in shaded workshops, their nimble fingers coaxing molten gold into filigree marvels. Led by master artisan Nafi Traoré, these women inherited techniques from West African forebears and Andalusian immigrants, combining local motifs, lotus petal patterns and geometric arabesques, with imported tools. Early each morning, they lit small clay furnaces fueled by hardwood charcoal, watching golden droplets coalesce into pools of molten promise. As metal softened, Nafi shaped it with rosewood hammers and polished agate stones, guiding apprentices in delicate wire drawing, pulling slender gold threads through tapered holes until they matched the thickness of millet grains. Their workshops smelled of hot metal and sweet beeswax, used to secure gold leaf when embellishing manuscript covers. Between hammer blows, the goldsmiths exchanged whispered prayers to Jeli, asking for steady hands and harmonious work. By midday, trays held rings stamped with lion paw seals, pendants shaped like crescent moons, and ornate hairpins reflecting sunlight like trapped rays. Wealthy merchants arrived to commission mosque lamp chains and prayer bead panels, testing each piece's weight on brass scales. Nafi, clad in indigo wrapper fringed with gold threads, offered polishing tips and recounted legends of women who once guarded Mali's secret mines. At dusk, workshop doors closed, and finished wares were wrapped in silk cloth stamped with family emblems. Despite their quiet labor, these goldsmiths shaped the empire's visual identity, ensuring that Mali's hidden wealth gleamed both in marketplaces and in the hallowed halls of Sankore. Their legacy endures in every delicate coil and every flicker of gold, a testament to female artisanship at the heart of a flourishing empire. Guiding caravans across relentless sands required more than instinct. It demanded cartographic ingenuity. Desert mapmakers, known as Karat, crafted portable charts on tanned leather and woven mats, plotting stars, oasis locations, and dune landmarks. Seated beneath date palms, they studied celestial bodies through brass astrolabes, translating night skies into sand and ink diagrams. Lead mapmaker Ibrahim al-Sarawi traced parabolic star paths on a leather chart, marking the positions of Fomalhaut and Vega, crucial beacons for northward journeys. Next to him, apprentices mixed charcoal dust with gum arabic to ink dune contours and oasis symbols, using reed pens for precision. Each chart incorporated local knowledge, the shape of a termite mound indicating underground water, or a cluster of tamarisk trees marking hidden wells. Before departure, caravans huddled around these charts under lantern glow. Ibrahim pointed with a reed indicator, explaining the distances between Taghaza's salt flats and the wells of Zarzaitin. Cautions. He cautioned against sand seas shifting in recent rains. Charts updated seasonally. Travelers memorized these routes through songs combining star names and landmarks, ensuring that even if charts were lost, the journey lived in their voices. By sunrise, rolled charts were tucked into camel leg pouches, and the silent fleet pressed north. As night fell, stars emerged to guide their path. Each constellation matched to the leather maps they carried. The desert mapmaker's art melded astronomy, geology, and oral tradition, an enduring legacy that kept Mali's golden caravans on course across an ever-changing sea of sand. Disease shaped both human lives and Mali's economy. When the 1352 fever swept through riverine towns, miners abandoned shafts, caravans halted, and gold shipments slowed. Healers Fanita used poultices of crushed neem leaves and tamarind bark, but without immunity knowledge, communities relied on isolation and prayer. In river camps, travelers arriving by canoe were quarantined on sandy banks for weeks. The cloth-wrapped forms of the ill lay beneath reed shelters, while attendants draped in indigo robes administered herbal decoctions. Merchants, wary of contagion, left gold dust at marked stones along river trails, signaling safe pickup only once health was assured. Griots recorded the epidemic in song, warning future generations of its whispering whisper-like spread. Meanwhile, city elders convened under mosque arcades, debating how to maintain trade without risking further outbreaks. They instituted new caravan protocols, trading posts staged at greater distances, contact mediated through gossamer screens of woven palm fiber, and gold exchanged via weighted baskets lowered on ropes. By year's end, survivors returned to their homesteads and mines reopened. Sand sluice channels cleared, revealing fresh nuggets beneath silt. The slowed flow of gold had raised its value, making small veins profitable again. Mali adapted, blending medical customs with economic strategy to ensure that even invisible threats could not permanently sever the empire's golden artery. As Mali's power waned in the late 14th century, the Songhai kingdom rose along the Niger's eastern floodplains. Led by Sunni Ali, Songhai forces challenged Mali's control of gold routes. Their fleet of war canoes patrolled the river, intercepting caravans and demanding tribute in exchanged gold dust. In Gao's marketplace, traders braced for morning inspections. Songhai tax collectors, clad in crocodile skin armor and brandishing curved sabers, boarded merchant vessels, weighing gold on portable brass scales. Some Mali caravans altered routes, skirting tributaries to avoid checkpoints, guided by desert mapmakers through uncharted dunes. Mali's garrisons responded by fortifying Keela outposts with reinforced mud brick walls and adding muskets acquired through Moroccan trade links. Camel-mounted scouts relayed warnings of Songhai patrols, while emissaries negotiated tribute treaties, exchanging gold dust for safe passage and shared access to Taghaza's salt pans. Despite tensions, cultural exchange flourished. Songhai scholars studied at Sankore University, and Mali goldsmiths found patrons among new elites. Over time, alliances formed through marriage and shared religious festivals, balancing competition with cooperation. Ultimately, the Songhai Challenge transformed Mali's golden epoch, reshaping trade networks into a mosaic of rivalries and partnerships that sustained West African prosperity. Scattered across the vast Sahara, hidden oasis wells served as lifelines for silent caravans and local traders. These wells, dug into bedrock and equipped with rope-drawn buckets, provided more than water. They were informal marketplaces where gold dust and salt changed hands under palm fronds. At the Tabel Bala oasis, well-keeper Fatimata Ghali oversaw transactions each evening. She wore a cobalt robe streaked with red ochre and carried a leather pouch of trade dust. As camels knelt beside the well, their handlers lowered leather flasks for water and placed small leather bags of gold at the well's lip. In exchange, Fatimata offered salt bricks or preserved dates stored in clay jars. Guided by torchlight, buyers and sellers negotiated with soft voices, mindful of the well's sacred status. Offerings of millet and frankincense were placed beside the wellhead, honoring ancestral spirits believed to guard its depth. Children collected water in miniature gourds, watching as adults weighed gold on pocket scales and counted salt grains by hand. Once agreements were sealed, goods were exchanged, and the silent caravans pressed onward toward Mali's heart. Oasis wells thus bridged desert extremes, weaving remote communities into golden trade circuits. They proved that even in isolation, human ingenuity could harness hidden water and wealth, sustaining an empire built on both. Over centuries, some of Mali's richest mines vanished beneath shifting sands and forest regrowth. The Bambuk and Kangaba shafts, once bustling with miners, fell silent as over-extraction depleted veins and political upheaval redirected labor. By the 15th century, abandoned entrances lay hidden beneath Baobab roots, and forest canopies reclaimed open pits. Archaeologist Alassane Coulibaly led 16th century expeditions into forgotten lands, tracing rusted pick fragments and moss-covered ladders. Clad in linen garments and carrying iron probes, his team mapped collapsed shafts and catalogued residual quartz veins. As they probed ancient walls, pockets of rust-red earth hinted at still untapped alluvial deposits. Local villagers recount ghost tales, shimmering lights beneath forest floors marking buried gold only visible at solstice. They avoid these spots, fearing jinn guardians. Modern prospectors, guided by Coulibaly's journals, occasionally uncover scattered nuggets where roots of cracked rock seams, tiny miracles in overgrown clearings. Yet most mines remain lost. Nature's reclamation obscures even large tunnels. Erosion has refilled shafts and seeded them with forest flora. Mali's hidden riches slip further from memory with each passing season, reminding all that human endeavor and natural cycles intertwine. The disappearance of these mines speaks both of lost wealth and of the Earth's power to absorb human marks, leaving only faint traces for future seekers. In present-day Mali, descendants of caravans and miners keep the golden legacy alive. Villages built atop former mine sites celebrate annual festivals featuring gold dust sowing ceremonies, rituals honoring ancestors and the land's generosity. Artisans still craft jewelry using centuries-old filigree methods, and markets in Bamako trade panned river gold alongside contemporary art. Local entrepreneur Mariam Diarra operates a heritage workshop where tourists learn goldsmithing basics on redesigned mortar and pestle sets. She offers night tours to abandoned shafts, her flashlight revealing quartz veins glinting faintly under dust. University researchers collaborate, sampling soil to locate residual deposits, merging traditional divining methods with modern geophysical tools. Despite political and environmental challenges, Mali's golden story endures as cultural tourism grows. Every hammered bracelet and guided mine tour connects visitors to silent caravans of old, and festival dances beneath Baobab trees echo ancient market rhythms. Modern echoes of hidden wealth remind communities that Mali's past continues to shape its present, weaving economic opportunity with ancestral reverence. Deep in the Sahara's silent reaches, legends whisper of jinn, spirits believed to guard buried gold caches. Travelers camped under starlight report distant laughter and flickers of phosphorescent lights dancing atop dunes, marking entrances to hidden vaults. Folklore holds that jinn tests seekers' intentions. Only those pure of heart may glimpse the treasure, while greedy intruders vanish into sandstorms. Bedouin-style storytellers, wrapped in dark robes and perched on rugs, recount the tale of Idris al-Mumin, who once followed flickering orbs to an underground chamber lined with golden vessels. He bowed and offered dates, winning jinn favor who allowed him a single chalice of gold before sealing the entrance. Idris returned home, his meager wealth doubled by wisdom, an eternal lesson in humility. Across desert oases, families pass these myths to children as bedtime lullabies. Puppeteers animate jinn figures with glowing lanterns, their shadows weaving mystical scenes on tent walls. Though skeptical scholars dismiss such tales, occasional expeditions, fueled by local lore, uncover small caches, natural alluvial pockets, reinforcing belief in jinn guardianship. These legends blend spiritual reverence with geology, reminding all that Mali's hidden gold is as much an invitation to wonder as it is a material bounty. In respecting the desert's unseen forces, traders and explorers honor a tradition that keeps the silent caravans moving with both caution and curiosity. In recent years, Mali's ancient caravan routes have seen a renaissance as cultural heritage trails. Guided expeditions retrace the paths from Timbuktu to Taghaza, combining archaeological site visits with local hospitality. Participants ride recreated caravans of camels, laden with salt blocks, sleeping in traditional tents under Saharan stars. Tour operator Ahmed Keita collaborates with village elders to restore crumbling Keela fortresses into guest lodges. Each morning begins with sunrise prayers at restored shrines, and evenings feature storytelling circles where griots recount medieval exploits. Archaeologists lead day treks to abandoned mine entrances, teaching participants to identify quartz veins and handle divining rods respectfully. This rebirth fosters economic revival. Communities earn income guiding travelers, selling handcrafted jewelry and hosting artisanal workshops. International researchers fund conservation projects, mapping ancient wells and stabilizing dune-shifted tombstones. As camel bells ring once more along silent dunes, Mali's hidden gold routes find new purpose, not in commerce alone, but in preserving collective memory and storytelling heritage. As our journey closes, imagine the golden tremor that once pulsed beneath Mali's earth. The silent caravans, the hidden mines, and the vibrant artisans whose hands shaped an empire's identity. Each chapter of this tale, from Kangaba's whispered shafts to Timbuktu's gleaming manuscripts, speaks to human ingenuity entwined with natural wonder. Recall the laborers who coaxed gold from quartz, the night watchers humming lullabies under starlit skies, and the mapmakers who charted constellations across sand seas. Remember the women traders balancing scales beneath baobabs, the academies where gold-leafed pages carried knowledge, and the oaths that bound camel drivers in unbreakable brotherhood. Today, Mali's golden legacy lives on in filigree bracelets, revived caravan trails, and community festivals beneath ancient trees. Its true wealth endures in stories passed from griot to listener, in the shimmer of sand at sunrise, and in the collective memory of those who honor both the earth's bounty and the spirit that guards it. Let this reflection settle in your mind like fine gold dust, soft, luminous, and transformative. May the echoes of silent caravans accompany your dreams, and may the whispered legacy of Mali's hidden wealth inspire wonder in every dawn yet to come.